So we are here today with Bryan Hughes, who is going to be speaking at AnxietyTech about hacking with my anxiety. So welcome to Bryan. We are so excited to have you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and about your talk.
Yeah, so I'm a developer evangelist at Microsoft. I've been doing that for a while now, and I've been involved in the JavaScript community for a really long time now. Mm-hmm. I started getting involved in conferences back in like 2013, met some really amazing people who kind of like pushed me to get involved in both like conferences, public speaking, community engagement, and also in open source. But yeah, so like while I was there at JSConf in 2013, I met some other folks working in NodeBot, specifically on Johnny Five, back when that was like a really new project. And I was immediately enamored. I was like, this is so cool. Especially since I did hardware back in college, but I did it the old way, like assembly in C, and it took like weeks to do something basic.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe all the time I wasted when it could have been this easy. And so like I kind of got involved in that, and it was a really great community too. And so I'm still involved in that project. I maintain the Raspberry Pi support for Johnny Five. And then part of that, I ended up getting involved in the Node project for a while as well. At first, I was kind of involved doing like hardware IoT stuff for the project, but quickly switched to focusing on culture. And trying to work on addressing like some culture issues that the project was having at the time. And so like I was a founding member of the inclusivity working group, where the community committee, special things for people who care. Most people don't care about names. But so I was doing this kind of work for about 2 years until I ended up stepping away from that over some internal political stuff.
It can be really draining trying to improve communities. I mean, we've dealt with that as we tried to sort of organize conferences and stuff. It's just like, it can be really hard dealing with all the different opinions and strong feelings people have and trying to negotiate that and do it in a really positive way. It can be super draining. So I commend your efforts.
Thanks. Yeah, and it's especially tough whenever you're working on like diversity and inclusivity specifically, which I do think mental health is a really important part of, and one that we don't talk about enough.
Sure. Exactly. So tell us a little bit about why you decided to build an app for mental health, for anxiety in particular.
So this is a specific thing. I kind of started off writing this for me specifically, like just looking at how anxiety affects me when coupled with just everything else about myself and like all the other ways that my brain works. Learning how like my anxiety is really similar to a lot of other people's anxiety, but also different too, which I think is the case with everyone.
Yeah, everyone's unique, sure.
Yeah, everyone's unique. And like one of the biggest areas where this affects me, where my anxiety affects me, is it's really tough for me to keep in touch with people. Like I'm notoriously bad about like just reaching out to people that I'm not seeing in person.
Really
bad. You're really good. You answered this call like no problem. Like Google Hangouts is the way to get in touch with Bryan Hughes, I would say.
There's a whole side topic on like developer evangelists, people who do public speaking, and have anxiety. There actually seems to be a correlation.
That's really odd, but
that's a different topic for another day, though. So like I'm just bad at keeping in touch with people, and I tried various things in the past using like calendar notifications, and just like none of it worked. In fact, a lot of it, in some ways, seemed to almost make it a bit worse. So I was like, you know what, I'm a developer. I work in open source. I've got some free time here. I should write my own thing. And so I'm working on this app. It's almost finished, in which I basically create a list of all the people that that are important to me in my life and I want to keep in touch with.
It's 5 people. It's 5 people. It's a very short list.
Oh my gosh, I keep having this thing where I'll add people like, oh yeah, I need to add them. Oh, I need to add them. Whoa, this list is getting really big.
Yeah, I really want to be friends.
It's like wedding invitations or something. You're like, oh, just a few important people. And then it's like the neighbors. And then someone says, well, what about me? What about me?
I'm like, oh yeah, you're awesome too. Of course you have to go on the list.
Yeah.
And like, I remix a lot of like really common design patterns so that we see with any sort of like contact system notification system. And that like it has, a notification just like calendars do, but the way like snoozing, dismissing, and all of that stuff, all this thing that we thought had been a solved problem for a long time works completely different in my app. And it's designed to make it a lot easier to ease anxiety. And one of the big ways it does that is trying to make sure there's like no surprises, because like surprises are a really great way to spike anxiety. So it kind of takes approach of like, hey, just letting you know, kind of get this on your radar, and eventually we'll deal with this later. So it's sort of the super short version of how it works. And of course, I'll go into a lot more detail on it.
That's cool. So I have a question for you. Go ahead.
So that's like half the talk, though. And the other half is talking about like my brain and how it works. I'm going to talk about open source as well, and I'm going to talk about diversity and inclusivity and like how mental health factors into that.
Great.
And like all of these, I think there's a lot of just really interesting topics here, and like how open source for sure can help mental health.
Awesome.
That's good.
Awesome.
I have this question that I'm trying to figure out, and I think it's kind of maybe an underlying theme of the conference in some ways, which is technology inherently anxiety inducing? Does it inherently damage mental health, or can it be done in a way that's positive? I mean, I feel like so many increases in technology, you can argue have just brought on more anxiety and stresses in our life. Does that have to be the case? I mean, is it sort of inherently bad?
Yeah.
I definitely don't think so. I think you're right, though. There's a very, very strong correlation between like the rise of tech, social networks, and things like that, and increasing anxiety. If I seem to recall, there's actually even been some studies that looking at just like overall statistics of people diagnosed with anxiety. It's gone up quite a bit, even relative to other mental health issues.
Right.
I do think that it plays a big part of it, but I think it's a correlation. It's correlation versus causation kind of thing. I don't think it has to be. I think tech actually can bring a lot to really help us with mental health. Like just a really quick kind of obvious example, like I use the Calm app to meditate with. And like that's a technology product, but it really helps me with my mental health. And I think a lot of other people too. So like we can be doing more. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I am doing my little project with tech.
Right, exactly. I think that there are so many options, and I think it's so important because a lot of people can't get to a psychologist or something like that. So tech is everywhere. And it just has the potential to help so many people. Things like your app, even.
Right. So. If we have technology that's doing better, or we, even we were at the movie, we saw Incredibles this with our kids this weekend, and like beforehand, they have this ad, and it's like Facebook, like, we used to be a great place and now we're terrible or whatever. This ad, or they're sort of like, we invented fake news, but we're trying to get away from all of that. And it was kind of like, remember when we were a place where it was just talking to your friends and it was happy and we want to go there again. And I was thinking, oh yeah, at some point these technologies were bringing a lot to our lives, and then at some point this sort of thing shifted, and it started just being like, this is awful, I can't handle this. So
spiral out of
so there's
control.
definitely some place for it where it can be really, really positive, and then how do you keep it there? It seems like things are always in balance. Anyway, we can't figure out these things, I guess, right now, Bryan. I guess, we can't solve them all. So I would just say, if you're interested in this stuff, if you're excited about talking about these issues, whether it's building technology for mental health or trying to better understand how existing technology affects mental health, come to our AnxietyTech conference.
Exactly.
Bryan is going to be there giving his great talk along with so many other amazing speakers. It's on July 18th, and you can find out more at www.anxietytech.com. Thanks so much for joining us today, Bryan.
We'll see you later.